Hi, this is Project Spark Game Mechanics. I'm Lady Lex UK, and this month we've been doing Brave game mechanics. Last week we had a look at implementing some arrows and having an arrow choice. Now we're going to expand on that even further this week, and we're going to make that a weapon system. So instead of just arrows, it's going to be a weapon type. And we're also going to have a sword in there. We're also going to have some enemies that the amount of damage that you inflict upon that enemy will depend on the weapon that you're wielding and what type of enemy it is. Because in Brave, you inflict more damage on certain enemies if you're carrying certain weapons. And to explain this further, let me show you what I've built. Okay, so first of all, I've got a neutral object here that I can attack. I can just, like that. I can destroy a neutral object like that with no problems at all. And over here is some enemies. Now, I've got my first weapon type selected. So even if she's got a sword or a bow, she is sparking green leaves, and the green nature thing is down at the bottom. If I press my left button, I can swap my weapon. I've now got this blue weapon, and again I can go to this yellow sparkly weapon. Let's go back to the green one, and if I go towards these green goblins here and try to attack them, no problem at all. I can attack them, and I can attack them with my sword. And they're dead, no problem at all. Now notice a blue one has come over, so I'm going to attack him. And it says wrong weapon. And although he's reacting to the attack, there is no flashing, so no hit reaction. And I'm not inflicted any damage upon this one or this yellow one that's come over here. So I'm going to have to swap my weapon. So I'll swap it for the blue one. And immediately I can now attack these blue goblins, which I couldn't do before. Right, killed the blue goblins, so all I've got left is the yellow ones. So I'll put my yellow one on. There we go, they're dead. It's sorted. Right, so let's have a look at these brains and see what was done. Okay, so I have 3 different goblin types, and all you need to do to add to these is to put in a number variable called enemy type, and I numbered them 1, and this one will have 2 in, like so, and then this one will have 3 in. There we go. That's how you label up your enemy types so that the player knows what they're attacking. This is an ordinary object. There's nothing in its brain whatsoever. It is a neutral object. All I've done is change this so that it is attackable. And I've changed its health down a bit so that you're not attacking it for hours. I apologise if I'm losing my voice. I've tried to make this video a few times and I've got a bit of a cold. So there might be a little bit coughing later on, we'll see. Okay, so here's Merida. Let's go into her brain and have a look and see what I've changed. Go up to the top. Up we go. Okie dokie. Now, last time we called this variable arrow. But now because we're going to have a sword as well, arrow didn't seem appropriate. So all I've done is I've gone and pressed Y and renamed it to weapon type. And that will rename all instances of that variable from arrow to weapon type. So you don't have to change it on every single tile. You do it once and it changes it everywhere, which is excellent. Okay, so we've now got a weapon type equals 1, 2 or 3. Let's scroll down. This is all to do for next week. So let's skip. Okay, when you press X, this is the mechanic for getting your sword out. So when you press X and you are carrying a sword, you will attack with a damage of 0. Now 0 is going to be the default attack. We're only going to inflict damage after we've checked to see what sort of game type the thing that you're attacking has got, and seeing if we want to damage it or not. So if we set that to 0 here, then it's not going to do any damage until it's checked. If you're carrying a bow and then you press X, we're going to destroy that bow and equip a sword. So this is the way of changing from your bow to your sword. So when weapon type equals 1, we're going to do the display exactly the same as we did before. And I've added an extra line in here that says play FX, Druid Magic Aura, scale of 0.15 on equipment. So whether it's the bow or the sword, it's going to play this special effect, but only if you've selected that weapon. And the same is true for weapon 2 and weapon 3. So there's the two special effects there. Right, this is the game mechanic we had last week, and as you notice, it's changed now to weapon type instead of arrow type, but it works exactly the same. Then we go down to attack hit. So when you hit an enemy, it's going to say, I'm going to set an object variable called my enemy to be it. So it's saying, okay, who have I hit? I'm going to call it, that's my enemy. Then it's going to check that enemy's brain to see what its enemy type number is. And if it's the same as its weapon type, so if it's a goblin type 1 and a weapon type 1 is equipped, then it's going to damage that enemy by 10 points. Otherwise, it's going to look to see if the enemy type is 0. If the enemy type is 0, so it hasn't got an enemy type set, so it's a neutral object, then we're going to damage that enemy by 20 points. Else, immune equals true. Okay, so these enemies that have got enemy type numbers in, they need to be killed specifically with a specific weapon type that you've got equipped. So if you don't set an enemy type in an enemy, they will be damaged by your attack. But if they're anything other than, and they've got an enemy type, then they are going to be immune. And when we set that boolean to be immune, we're going to just play it for 1 second, display wrong weapon above their head. You could put immune or whatever you want to do. You could put a symbol up above their head. You can make them hologram, whatever you want to do to show the player that these are immune. You do that here. Else, immune equals false. So as soon as you've done it, it then goes back to being false, so you can do it over and over and over with lots and lots of different enemies that you've attacked. When you've got the right stick, I've changed this slightly, so you shoot an archer's arrow in direction of forward with damage 0. So there we go, we're going to change that, so that's the default 0, because again we are checking to see if there's any damage, so we want to make sure it's 0 as a default. If you start to move the right stick and you're carrying a sword, then we're going to destroy our sword and equip our bow. So this is the mechanic for swapping from the sword to the bow. And there we go. There it is. Everything else is the same as before. So there's our mechanic. That's how you get 3. You can also have 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever many weapons you want to have. And they can be immune, or instead of immunity, maybe you give them a slightly different damage. It's entirely up to you how you run this. But that is the basic mechanic that you can see in Brave. Right, thanks for watching. I hope that was useful, and keep sparking.